Hey everyone, this is Jaden Hydar, aka SpideyFan 101, and today I'm here to talk about something that has been piquing my interest and really is getting me excited. Now, I absolutely have massive respect and really love James Gunn. I think he is one of the best directors and storytellers in Hollywood right now, and he is for sure one of my inspirations, along with James Cameron, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller when it comes to filmmaking. Not to mention that his endeavors with the superhero genre have led to some of the greatest superhero media of all time. The Guardians of the Galaxy saga, the Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker. Truly groundbreaking stuff. So when I heard that this same person was going to be spearheading DC Studios in the new era of DC, along with the producer that led to the uptick and really revitalization that started to happen with the Snyderverse post-Justice League, would be joining him, I was blown away. So I wanted to go over some of the reasons as to why I think this new universe and era of DC is going to be something special. For one thing, the filmmakers and storytellers are being put first. Now, you would think that this would be a normal practice in the world of filmmaking, but in the past few years, as much as I would love to agree, when it comes to superhero filmmaking, that is, for the most part, that's not the case anymore. There are usually so many studio heads, executives, etc. that constantly get in the way and actively make movies and TV shows worse. But with DC Studios, James Gunn has made it clear many times that the storytelling comes first. Creative vision comes first. Scripts get done before shooting, etc. All these things are great signs for the creative organization of the studio, and it shows that they understand the true essence of what it takes to make great films and shows. This again would be more obvious, but the world and the industry have been so desensitized by Marvel Studios and how they go into their productions with incomplete scripts and lack of clear vision on what they want to do, which is not the way films are supposed to be made. Yes, they have made great movies and shows that are definite staples of great superhero media, but it is not how movies or shows are supposed to work. And I'm really glad that James Gunn and Peter Safran understand that. The second thing I want to bring up are the characters they've chosen to start the universe with. Blue Beetle, Creature Commandos, and not to mention the first superhero, Superman. And with all these productions all going smoothly and completing or being deep into script writing or shooting, this makes it all reassuring and exciting rather than the confusion and mess the previous universe, that being the Snyderverse, left us in. Not talking about it from a shared universe perspective, just talking about it from a general movie making perspective, I appreciate that this universe is starting out with more obscure characters and giving them the benefit of great adaptations. Blue Beetle, which I finally got to talk about earlier in the year, was a great start to this universe. It introduced us to an amazing character in Jaime Reyes and told his story in an amazing way, introduced his family and showed the effect that they have on his life, his love Jenny and how amazing she is, and everything that's going on with her and Ted Kord, and set the ground, and really building up Kord Industries again, and set the groundwork for not only Jaime as a hero, but what he could be doing in the future, especially when it comes to finding the original Blue Beetle, Ted Kord. Creature Commandos being the first DC animated project that is a part of a bigger DC universe, besides the ones like Vixen and the Ray that the Arrowverse, aka Earth Prime, would have, which is exciting. And while I don't personally know much about the characters, I know that they have immense potential to be in a great and refreshing story that will be well written and a great addition to the universe, especially because James Gunn wrote a lot of it. Also, big plus that it's animated, because some of the greatest parts of any universe are the animated entries. If you don't believe me, look at Star Wars. Look at the 90s Marvel Universe. Look at the 2000s Marvel Universes and the Marvel Rising Universe. Look at the Spider-Verse, etc. Yeah, say something now. I didn't think so. And let's not forget about Superman, and how not only good it's shaping up to be, not only the fact that its production is going super smooth as we speak, heck, they're probably filming right now, but also the mentality behind it. Finally, the people making Superman understand Superman. Is it that hard to finally have that happen? I mean, honestly. Anyway though, I also love the castings. My girl Izzy is in it as Hawk Girl, and that's cool. As sad as it is to see it not work out with her as Anya, and just being in Madam Web period, it's good to see her have her Michael B. Jordan redemption moment. For those that don't know, he was in Fantastic. Then, a couple years later, he was in Black Panther. Enough said. Although I'm still praying Lord and Miller are nice enough to redeem her in Beyond. Please, please, please. Anyway though, her as Hawk Girl is great. Especially because I remember her most from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and how great and epic of a character she was. Her whole relationship with Jon Stewart was great. They can't do that now, of course, because I'd assume they're looking to cast Jon about 20, maybe 20 or so years older than Izzy. So I guess that's the only thing. But this is a new universe, so like any new universe, or Earth in DC terminology, let's see where they go with it. But getting back to Superman, I absolutely am looking forward to this movie. I absolutely love Superman. He has always been one of my favorite characters, but for whatever reason, we went through this weird stretch of time where nobody could get him right. It's like after Christopher Reeves and the Tim/Dennyverse, people just forgot the fundamentals of Superman. And it led to all these adaptations that actually sucked. Superman Returns didn't do it for me. Snyderverse Superman certainly didn't do it for me. His cameos in other animated series post the Tim/Dennyverse didn't do it for me. The only universes/Earths that were able to do it for me were the Arrowverse Superman and My Adventures with Superman. Although almost every character in the Arrowverse is definitive, Arrowverse Superman just does it for me. He always has, and he just had that Superman Clark Kent energy that felt right. In My Adventures with Superman, I appreciate it because it has this almost anime style storytelling method, while at the same time making sure they are staying true to what Superman and his lore mythos, and just him as a character, stand for. There were also a lot of Superman animated movies I absolutely loved, like Superman vs. the Elite, Superman Unbound, All-Star Superman, Superman Red Sun, the Superman and Batman crossover duology. And even though I didn't really care for the Superman in the DC animated film universe when they started becoming shared with Justice League War, I really like what they did with the death and return of Superman films. Those were great. But that was literally it. I have a feeling though that the streak will be broken with James Gunn's Superman, even with the official synopsis of the film. In quote, Superman follows the titular superhero as he reconciles his heritage with his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and a brighter tomorrow in a world that views kindness as old-fashioned. That's Superman.
That's it, you did it.
Congrats, you did it. You finally did it. You finally got Superman in movies. Now again, the film's not out yet, but with every word that James has said about his Superman movie, its inspirations, the way it looks like they're already visually showing his progression as a character through his logo, the casting of Dave as Clark, and the great and vulnerable but confident and nice presence he's looking to give, and etc., I can already say that this is Superman. Anyway though, I talked for a long time about that movie, but what can I say? I love Superman. Also, with Supergirl moving forward and adapting the Woman of Tomorrow story. Now look, for people that have been here since the beginning, you all know how much I love Supergirl. Especially Melissa Benoist's Arrowverse Supergirl. While she wasn't my first introduction to the character, she was the first iteration of the character to make me fall in love with Supergirl. And I absolutely loved the series. I own every single season. And again, OG viewers know this already, but I own every single season on DVD and digital, and it is still to this day one of my favorite shows of all time. Like in top 3 and or top 10. And as for the Woman of Tomorrow storyline, I just read it back in 2022, and it is an amazing story, and it very much leans on that 2013 Supergirl that was angry and jaded, which wasn't and isn't my preferred version of the character. I prefer my Supes to be a light and a ray of hope, but there has to be different types of characters with different types of personalities, I know. But I love the story and everything about it. So to know that this is the first story that this new Kara is going to experience is really cool. And I know there will be some that are disappointed that Sasha from the Flash movie isn't coming back, and I understand. It really pulled at my heartstrings seeing her being cast as Supergirl in that one video, and while I do wish her character was more well handled in the Snyderverse, it's like I said, and I felt the same way when the TV show came to an end, and I had to say goodbye to a character and group of characters that I have grown to love for almost a decade. But again, it's like I said, it's a new universe, so let's just see what they do. The only concern that I have about this universe is Batman. Now, as someone who is extremely biased to the Matt Reeves Batman saga that's unfolding right now, I am very apprehensive about this new Batman. Not because I'm worried about its quality, but because I'm worried about how they're going to do it. I'm not saying that I wanted Matt Reeves' Batman to be a part of this universe. No, I think it's great on its own, in its own universe, not to be touched unless there's like an 8th crisis event that has to be dealt with. But I think the way Matt Reeves is developing his version of Batman and the Batman mythos is not only the very definition of definitive, but it's also a masterpiece on every single level. And naturally, something like that is very difficult not to be compared to, and very difficult to live up to. Which is why I understand James trying to do something different. And doing a Batman and Robin story, especially a Bruce and Damian story, and going through the more fantastical and ninja-esque aspects of the Batman mythos makes sense. And it gives the audience the best of both worlds. It's great. But personally, I just find that aspect of the Batman mythos kind of boring. I always have. And unless Annie Muschietti is able to blow my socks off, I don't think that's gonna change with that film. We'll see though. A third thing that I love about this too is them still leaning into the DC multiverse and embracing multiversal storytelling. So that way we don't lose any of the other iterations of the characters we love, at least for the most part. Looking at you, Teen Titans. We know they're still out there. But this time, we're just seeing DC through the perspective of this new universe from now on. Which is okay. And I think once we see more James' universe, I think people will embrace it more. Although I hope they fix the multiverse at some point, because right now it's kind of crazy. First, the crisis happened, and Oliver died twice recreating the multiverse. Then there was an incursion happening in Superman Lois Season 2 finale that was thankfully fixed. Then the Flash comes along and Snyderverse Barry messes up the multiverse again with his Flashpoint event. Then there's yet another crisis happening as we speak in the Tomorrowverse right now. And that's in the middle of happening and spreading throughout all the animated universes. Like, Oliver might need some help at this point. He has to come back again and end all these crisis situations pronto. But in all seriousness, I believe that them still favoring multiverse storytelling is really good and amazing. Definitely 2 whole football fields better than how Marvel Studios goes about telling multiverse stories. Although, they have been getting better with it by, bringing back X-Men with X-Men Season 6 and putting revivals of every TV show in Marvel history on the table to get a revival, which is cool. But I feel like DC has done it better with the more direct multiverse storytelling, in which the MCU has completely failed at it. So, yeah. Besides Doctor Strange 2 and Loki, those were amazing. And No Way Home was a Spider-Verse film. It was not a multiverse saga film. I don't care what you say. Overall, though, the main reason as to why I think this new DC Studios and DC Universe is going to be the next big thing and the next great thing is simply because they understand what makes DC great. And they understand what makes filmmaking so great, special, and important. I really believe that this universe will be the best DC shared universe we've had since the Arrowverse, since the Tim/Dennyverse. I believe that this universe will learn from what the Snyderverse did wrong and build upon what great DC universes like the Arrowverse and like the Tim/Dennyverse did right, and even aspects of what the Snyderverse did right. And finally, the spearheads and the creatives, they love DC, man. They read the comics, they're fans of the characters, and their sole mission is to do them justice. That's leagues above what the Snyderverse did. That's leagues above what the MCU does nowadays. And that's ultimately what's going to make it special. And it isn't ultimately what will make it the next big thing. So yeah, I got a lot of faith in this, and I know James Gunn will deliver. So I'm ready. Let's get it. So yeah, I am Jay Nidar, aka SpideyFan101, saying peace.